Welcome to my first vegetable garden. This series is all about growing plants indoors for the first time, and it'll be an ongoing series for 2024, and we're going to start today with lighting. I want to go over basic white LED shop lights, ratings you need to look for, how much you want to spend, and it's going to save you some money. Now the first thing to mention is we're growing transplants. We're growing vegetables, flowers, herbs, and we're going to be growing them indoors from anywhere from 4 weeks to 6 weeks to 8 weeks up to 12 weeks. This is just for transplant growing. So the ratings and the light types that I'm going to talk about are for that. Why do I say that? You're going to see very expensive grow lights with red LEDs and blue LEDs that can be $100, $200, $300. You don't need those. The ratings and those lights are more important for growing indoors, for flowering and for harvesting. So I recommend basic white 4-foot shop LEDs, just like you see here. We'll talk about that more in depth. You're going to need a place to set up a shelving unit. You don't need all these shelves. We're going to work in this space for this series, and everything that you see here, containers, heat mats, we'll be going over. You don't need something elaborate like this. You just maybe need something maybe with 2 levels. You're going to be able to grow plenty of plants under this. This is the basic LED. You see 2 rows of lights. White light is every color of the spectrum. Your plants are going to get everything they need. When you mix together the different colors of light, it looks white. So you have the reds and the blues and the greens in here. So white light is good. The tip that I want to recommend is that you set up your light as high as you can to the shelf under here. And rather than lowering the light down further, or raising it up, depending on if your plants are growing, you're going to keep the light stationary, and you will raise the seed starting tray closer to the light when you're germinating, and then you'll drop it down as the plant grows. That just saves you a lot of time. I use foil sometimes on the opposite sides of the lights to kind of just flap down like that and keep more of the light in. I removed the light that was right here because I needed to replace it. This is a replacement light. 4-foot light, you want to get one that has a plug. You don't want to get one that needs to be hardwired into the ceiling or something like that. This is actually probably maybe a 5-foot cord. Definitely you want to get a 3-foot cord. You're going to need some extension cords. I do recommend a timer. Just depends on how many lights you're setting up. You want to bring them all down to one side into an extension cord, and then you want to use a timer. Lights are going to stay on when you're seed starting, especially for the beginning when you're germinating. You're going to be germinating them in these different containers, in these flats. We'll be talking about those. Please follow this series. We'll be going over everything that you see here. But lighting is something you can buy now. Typically we won't start really growing until January, maybe February, depending on what you're growing. When your seeds are first planted, so to speak, and you're waiting for them to germinate, you want them to be about 2 inches close to the light. You want the lights to stay on 12 to 14 hours for that period. After they germinate and are under the lights for 12 to 14 hours for about a week, you can begin to lower them down. It's really important that the plants, when they break the surface, they're hit by intense light. That's why a south-facing window doesn't work. When you're germinating seeds, you need the intense light, so you have to use grow lights. After your plants are growing indoors, maybe 4 weeks, 5 weeks, you can move them from here and you can put them by a south-facing window, save some space, because you've got plants that are growing, they're, feeling like they're getting a lot of love. They're not leggy. What does that mean? If you've ever seen it, if you try and grow something by a window, you put a seed in, the plant gets really tall, it falls over, it's leggy. It's because it's stretching for the light. So you really want to set up something like this to get those seed starts the light they need to get started. We're talking about white LEDs that have been around now for 10 years. If you look back there, those are old fluorescent tubes. I've been doing this for 20 years using the white light. This is to save you some money. Certainly the more expensive systems, $100, $200, they work and your plants do look a little bit better. but you don't need it for the seed starts. This is going to cost you anywhere from really now $20 to $30 for a basic 4-foot white LED shop light. And you're going to look for the ratings on the box. You're going to see two ratings that are important. One is lumens. That's the brightness. You want at least 5,000 lumens. I was just at the store today. I saw the next kind of version of these. They're at 7,000 lumens, so they're even brighter. 5,000 lumens, and you want the rating on the box. Sometimes it's in Kelvin. It'll say 6,100 Kelvin. That's daylight, or it's just going to say daylight. You want, again, 5,000 lumens or higher for brightness, and you want the light to be 6,100 Kelvin, or you want it to say daylight. That basically mimics the sun. This is all you need. Now, I have this set up so that I can put a tray. Let me move this out of the way so it doesn't fall, so that I can put a tray in here just like this. And you can see how the aluminum flat pushes out. The light that I just showed you is going to go right here. And I use two lights, so it's about 50 bucks to set this up. But you can put one flat, two flats, three flats, four flats under here. These are 72 cells. Sell all this at my seed shop if you want to check out the video description. That's over, let's see, over 288 plants that you can get started. And you can do the math. If you're paying $3 or $4 a plant, you're saving yourself a lot of money. This is the basic setup that I use. If you're on a budget, you could move this light to the center right here, and you can just put in two trays. And that might be plenty. It might not even be that because because you're on a budget. It's because you just don't need all those plants. So one tray right here, one tray over there, and that's going to set up the lighting for you. So the questions that I get the most are, how close do the plants need to be when seed starting? And like I said, about 2 inches when you're first germinating. And then as they grow, you can kind of lower this down and the distance can be greater. The most important time is that 1 week period after germination that you want the plants to hit the light. And I mention this again because this is where people make the biggest mistake. They break the surface. For about a week they get enough intense light so they don't get tall and leggy and flop over. This is all you need for lighting. I've been doing this for 20 years. The white LEDs work. You can just see from the side, if you want a quick angle from this way, how I have it set up. One light here, the other light would go right here for 4. And if not, you can just put the single light right down the middle. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shelving units, still using the fluorescent lights there. That's an older version of LED over there on the left. The system works. This is all you need to grow your own transplants. And please subscribe and follow me, because the next thing we're going to be talking about are the different containers. We'll be talking about seed starting mix, watering, feeding, fertilizing, and even the heating mat over there. Thanks for watching my first vegetable garden. And again, please check out my seed shop at therustedgarden.com.